Yeah, I should.
All right, well, we'll get started here and hopefully a few more people will be coming in. Does everybody have their workbook? Okay, the class didn't stress you out too much that you decided to come back. Thank you everybody for being here today. Did you all do your journal? That nice, pretty easy questions, right? You just had to answer them? Okay, good, because we're gonna go over them soon. We're actually gonna go over all of the, like we're gonna go through all the homework, because I really didn't do that last week. It was just so preoccupied with getting started. I'm like, gosh, I didn't really like go over the homework page. So when you walk out of here today, you should have a much better idea of what you need to do when you leave. I'll turn it down just a little bit. Okay, so what we're gonna do today on my portion is we're gonna go just until about 7 o'clock, and what we're gonna start doing is, okay, let me think where we were gonna start. Let me get to my notes. So let's go to the journal pages on page 41 and recap what we went over last week. Now, if you weren't here last week, just listen, read the questions and listen along, and you'll kind of get a recap of what we did. Basically, we talked about what stress is in the first place, because as we're going through a stress less program and trying to figure out how to stress less, we really need to know what it is and how it affects us. Alright, so how does stress impact our mind, body, and soul? Did you get that answered? Okay, somebody tell me, how do you feel that stress impacts your mind? We talked about with anxiety, depression, heart racing, like that, just that terrible feeling that you can have. How does stress impact your mind?
Makes me feel overwhelmed.
Yeah, it's a bad feeling, isn't it? Okay, what else? How does stress make you feel, whether you were here last week or not? I mean, we can all say how stress made us feel.
It takes up space in my mind, so I can't concentrate on other thoughts.
That's a good way to put it. I mean, it's a big waste of space, right? Okay, Joanne?
Irritable?
Irritable, totally. Low patience? Yeah, okay. How about on the body? How does it affect you? It's going to affect each person different, so how does it affect your body?
Tense.
Tense? That chest clenching? What's something that might happen to you chronically over time with like the tension, headaches? Can you think of anything?
What? I kind of got over a little, I mean, I was in a stressful job, which I didn't realize it was stressful,
Yep.
but it kind of shut down my body. Like there were things that I didn't feel that after I left that job, I'm like, I didn't even know I could feel like that. I mean, so it seemed to really deaden something.
Yeah. Well, and it becomes a way of life. You don't even realize that there's another way. And especially because we're all living that way, right? Like, they're stressed too, so it's just normal. But maybe it doesn't have to be normal. One of the things that I get is if I have stress for a period of time is that I get a lot of back pain. Because I have scoliosis, so there's different things, diet's a good contributor, all this stuff. When I'm stressed, I mean, those cortisol levels that get released, and it causes inflammation in the body, huge contribution to it. Yeah. Seeing if I said that right. Okay, how about the soul? How does it impact your soul? You as a person, how does it affect whatever your spirituality is, how does it affect your spirituality? Your ability to live every single day and enjoy it. You know, the part of who you are, this thing that you can't change. Kind of ruins it for me.
I think you're not true to it.
Mm-hmm. When you're stressed out, it's the definition of stress. What was it? Like just being preoccupied and over-consumed basically with tons of different tasks and things that are demanding on you. So it's your body telling you, it's your mind telling you that you're just getting too much of a demand in one thing or many things. And when you do that, you can't focus on yourself. You can't be true to who you are. Because if you were true to who you are, we wouldn't have stress. All right. So where does our stress come from? Did you guys think about that? Were we able to link it at all to what it might be, whether it's your job, relationships, finances, right? Can you think of at least one thing? Like, shake your head yes if there's one specific thing that it is. Okay. What are the coping mechanisms for stress? We talked about the positive and the negative, but as far as stress goes, typically we use negative coping mechanisms and not really even think about it. That's when we got into the how it relates to the food choices that we take, right? The primary and the secondary foods. Can anybody name a coping mechanism? Can you throw one out there that maybe you use, or you know a lot of people that use that specific coping mechanism?
Chocolate.
Chocolate, yeah, it is. And it's became like an okay thing, like, oh, you're stressed, here's some chocolate. All right, what else?
Caffeine.
Caffeine, okay. Yep, all right. Drinking, and like I mentioned last time, you don't have to be an alcoholic to use alcohol as a coping mechanism. It's that, oh, I just need to relax, I'm gonna have a beer, right? That's your way of de-stressing. Okay, so what does your life look like with less stress? Let's all do that right now. Can you close your eyes? Take a deep breath, let it out. What do you imagine for yourself with less stress in your life? Smiling, healthy, energetic,
Peaceful.
peaceful. What else?
Laying on a beach.
Oh, that sounds nice. Can you feel the heat from the sun? What else are you picturing for yourself?
More loving and compassionate.
Yeah. All right, you can open your eyes. When you're less stressed, whoever said that, you're able to give more to other people because you're not so focused on yourself. Right? When we're stressed, we're kind of being selfish. We're typically thinking about ourselves and all of the things we have to do and all of that. But if we're not stressed, we can give a lot more to other people because we don't have to worry about ourselves as much. Okay. How do you try to use secondary foods to fill your primary gaps? So last week we talked about how our primary foods, no matter how much secondary food, will never be able to, let me read it. Let me get that right. It's a good sentence, I don't want to ruin it. If you get to the right page. Okay, if you're not getting the primary food you need, eating all the secondary food in the world won't satisfy your hunger. Go ahead, if you guys want to take a look at it, and if you weren't here on page 4, you're going to see that primary and secondary food. So the primary food is us. It's everything in our lives and who we are. It's our finances, it's our career, it's our relationship, it's our sleep habits, it's our physical activity, it's our home environment, it's even our home cooking. It's everything. Then our secondary foods is the food that nourishes our body, and it's what's on our plate. So how do those relate to each other? So the question in the journal is, how do you try to use your secondary foods to fill your primary gap? And that's where chocolate comes into play. That's where food comes into play. Remember the example of me, if this is I have several examples. So if this is the one that I had given, I'd come home from a tough day of at my nursing job, and I was so stressed out by everything. I'd come home and I'd eat a half of a pizza and I'd take a nap. So those were 2 negative coping mechanisms for me. The pizza to try and feel some sort of satisfaction, and then the nap to try and just get away from reality. So how was I using my secondary foods to fill a primary gap? I was using the pizza as a way to feel satisfaction and get over my stress. Can you all relate to that some way or another? Okay, so if you haven't filled this out, please take the time to do so, because it's the time that you sit and think with yourself and go through the process that you can overcome everything that we're working on. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, so now we're going to flip forward, and we're going to go to some page, and let me just find where it is. We're kind of going to be flipping all over today. We're going to talk about the meal plan, but there's some things that I wanted to talk about first. Here we go. So go to page, actually what we're going to do is go to page 24. Now what I decided to do is, today was supposed to be talking about the meal plan, but then I went home last week and oh my gosh, we didn't really spend much time talking about the homework. Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about setting goals. So what we're gonna do is on page 24 is just the very end of what we were gonna talk about next week. I'm gonna move it up, it makes more sense to talk about today. So we're gonna talk about setting goals, we're gonna set some goals in class, and then we're gonna go talk about the meal plan. Sound good? Alright, so page 24, we're gonna go where it says goals. Now, goals are something that you're trying to accomplish. The actual definition is an aim or a desired result. So an example would be like, if you wanna read the whole Bible, I want to read the Bible. If you wanna lose weight, I wanna fit back into my jeans. Or if you have diabetes, I wanna keep my blood sugar in a better range. But this is where people go wrong, because when we set New Year's resolutions, now who said that they'd set New Year's resolutions at least once in their life? It's a pretty common thing. Now how do you feel about accomplishing? Do you feel like you've always accomplished New Year's resolutions? There's a few different reasons that we don't accomplish them, but the one I'm going to focus on is that we really don't set ourselves up for success by even writing the goals out correctly and then creating a plan for it. So let's take that goal and we're going to go down to a SMART goal. Anybody heard of the word of a SMART goal before? Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. Okay, let's take those goals and make them a little bit more specific. So you want to read the Bible. I want to finish reading the Bible by December of 2015. Well, there you go. Now you know that you have a whole year that you want to get the Bible done, right? You have a deadline for yourself. Or if you want to fit back into your jeans, I want to lose 10 pounds by March 15th. It's something that you can measure. Last one, for diabetes. I want to keep my blood sugar in the range of 90 to 110 consistently by March 15th. So it's giving you a deadline of when you want to be consistently reaching that. Okay, so that's a good starting point. In a minute here, we're going to practice writing our goals for the program. So that's why we're talking about all of this. Because when this program is done too, I want you to know how to be able to write goals and set goals, because when you go out into the world, we can talk about how we're going to be less stressed right now, right? We listen to the music, we do the yoga, we're feeling good. But then reality hits and we go back out there. So what are you going to do when you're on your own is that we're going to be setting goals, and now you're going to know how to reach them. Okay, action steps. So we've got our SMART goal: measurable, attainable, realistic, timely. Now we need to break it down into an action step to know what to do every single day. Because if we set a New Year's resolution to lose 10 pounds by March 15th, that's great, but how are we going to get there? An action step is how we're going to do it, because it's something that you literally are doing. Here's examples. So every day I will spend 10 minutes before bed reading the Bible. That's what's going to get you to finish the Bible by December of 2015. Does that make sense? This is where we don't often see a connection. We set a goal, but we don't actually have action steps. Okay, I'll run for 30 minutes on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings. Okay, that's how you're going to lose 10 pounds by March 15th. I will switch from POP to natural Arbonne Fizz Sticks. That would be how somebody can help to get their blood sugar into a better range. Does that make sense? And that's something that these are something that you can do every single day. So an action step, think about it walking up the stairs. An action step is one step after another, after another, after another. Okay, so now, does that seem clear to everybody? Okay, let's practice it for the program. So now we're gonna switch forward again. Let me get my note out here. And we're gonna go to page 39. Actually, bear with me, go to page 36. All right, now let's talk about our homework. We're gonna go ahead and just skip week 1. We're done with that. Let's look at week 2. So for week 2, we're gonna go through our week 2 goals. We're gonna do this in person right now. We're gonna work on a food journal, which I have to grab that for you guys. We're gonna work on the meal plan for 2 weeks. We're gonna set up action steps, and then we're gonna do the week 2 journal questions. So let's talk about all this. And then Joanna's gonna go through the pranayama chart with you prior to starting yoga today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, page 39. All right, let's be successful with this. The first thing that I want you to do is you see 1 month goals at the bottom. Remember writing out our why, our motivation for why we're doing this program prior? We did that last week on a different page. we're gonna go ahead and you can look at that if you need to, otherwise you can rewrite it, you can do something different. Down here, I want you to write the why of you're doing this program. Now, I tried to pry it out of you last week, I'm like, so why is everybody here? And you all said, well, we're open to learning. Okay, I want a little bit more information than that. So why are you here? Are we all stressed? Okay, now our stress is it's caused by something and it's causing issues, which is why you're here. Our stress is maybe causing difficulty sleeping, maybe it's causing relationship problems, maybe it's our relationships that are causing stress. There's something in your life that is bad because of the stress. Now, what is it that you want to fix? So write down here, I want you to write down why. Why are you here? And what do you want to change? What do you want to add into your life? What do you want to take out? Just write 2 or 3 simple things right here. I'll give you 30 seconds, okay? Everybody have a pen? Okay. Now, is anyone daring enough to share an example with me? Anyone want to share an example?
I guess my main thing is, and I don't know if I put this in the right form, but healthier eating and just more knowledge about, because I went with your list to the grocery store and I mean, it's totally, and then we looked at things that said they were kind of healthy,
Mm-hmm.
but there was lots of sugar and all that stuff
Okay.
still. And so just learning more about that and what to look for, and hopefully with the eating better, reduce inflammation and help with more energy and less back pain and all
Awesome.
that stuff. And
Okay. And Katie had a great example. She had said that she'd tried some of it out. She did some of the grocery shopping, tried some of the meal plan already. She said, wow, like that was a lot of work. And the thing about it is you just got to be open with yourself, because it can be a really big change to go from the way you're eating now to what we're going to do for 2 weeks. So you just got to love yourself and be patient with yourself and do the best that you can. Don't expect perfection, but as long as you're being intentional, you're going to find some type of success, whether it's just learning how to eat different, practicing different meals, or assisting you in reaching different health goals, whether it is to decrease inflammation for pain or to lose some weight. And again, it's just 2 weeks. This is just a really good practice to show yourself that you can do it, and you continue practicing. So after this 2 weeks is done, I don't want you to just stop and go back, right? We're going to keep bringing it in one way or another into your life. What's another example? What's a good reason to be here in this program? What do you want to learn from decreasing stress? Anything?
Be able to relax tense muscles more.
Okay, great. Good. Okay, so let's take that why. That's our motivation, okay? And we're going to create goals out of it. So what do you want to achieve in 1 month? Now, we really think about knowing yourselves. How much can you actually accomplish in 1 month? The habits that we've set in place now take a really long time to change. So to make and break habits take a long time. But if you're consistent with little action steps every single day, you can see change. So what are you looking to? Is it to mend a relationship? Is it to maybe sleep a little bit better? Could it be just to pick up on one healthy habit or learn a better coping mechanism for stress? Maybe it's that you just want to know that when you feel stressed, you know how to be able to breathe correctly through it. Or that you want to practice yoga every day. Okay, so think about some goals that you want for yourself in 1 month. Because we're being intentional this month. So what do you want to accomplish? Here's an example of what mine would be regarding stress. So if I was going to a stress class and trying to take my own advice, it would be, I would say, for my back pain. So in a month, I wanna reduce my back pain from a 5 out of 10 to a 3 out of 10. So that's pretty specific, measurable, timely, and it gives me something to focus on. If you don't have all 3 goals right now, that's okay, just 1 or 2. Okay, then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna hop up to 2-week, the second week goal. Now, what do you wanna accomplish for this week? Now, here's what I would say. We have all of this homework to do and we're learning all of these things. So if you want, just have it pertain to the homework. So it could be, I wanna stick to the meal plan. Like if that's what you want and you actually wanna do the meal plan, say you wanna stick to it. Or maybe you wanna be a little bit better about practicing yoga this week than you were last week. Maybe you only practiced 3 times last week, but you'd really like a goal of doing 5 days a week for just 10 minutes, if that's what it's gonna work for you. So think about what you want just for this week to help you in those achieving your month goal. All right, now we're gonna flip over to page 37. We're gonna take it to the next step. And this is where we're gonna be successful in it. So you don't have to copy it right now, but I'm gonna ask you that later on to fill in those 3 goals that you just set for yourself. And what you're gonna do is start breaking them down into action steps. You might find that you want another piece of paper if there's not enough room for action steps. But for every goal, you never wanna have over like 3 action steps each, otherwise it can get overwhelming. So maybe you just focus on 1 action step for each goal. So, page 37. So if your goal is to practice yoga 3 times a week, or 5 times a week for 10 minutes, then be a little bit more specific. So which days are you going to practice yoga? What time are you going to practice yoga? So let me show you an example of something that I did. So I put a goal of reducing my back pain from a 5 out of 10 to a 3 out of 10. So you can see here that I set action steps of practicing yoga 10 minutes every morning, doing my food journal every night, and then ensuring at least 10 cups of water a day. I can pass it around to show you because that's like this one. Now you're gonna see underneath with the action steps is that there's 7 spots. And what you're gonna do in those 7 spots until I see you next Monday is check it off every day that you do it. This visual aid is going to help you in being successful. Otherwise, it gets swept under the rug because we already have these habits set in place, and before you know it, it's the end of the day and you didn't do any of them. So put this in a spot, whether it's on your counter, it's in your bathroom, it's next to your bed, that you know you're going to check it every day. Does that make sense? All right. It's going to vary for each person. Just know that whatever the action step is, it's something doable that you can do in your day. It doesn't have to be anything extreme. So practicing 10 minutes of yoga a day, doing my food journal at night, and making sure I get enough water in a day. Doable. Let me grab the food journals out too. I'm going to go over those. Does anybody have questions on that? Do you feel good about it? Okay. Hey, this is what I wanted to say too. Who here is on the Facebook page right now? Okay, so let me see. So we don't have everyone. Amy's not on, right? Deb. Oh, I couldn't, Deb, I was having trouble finding you on Facebook. You don't have a Facebook. So I got that. Now, Dion, do you have a Facebook?
I do, I just don't have one very much.
Well, you know what? I did request you to be a friend.
Okay.
So if you'll go on and just add the Facebook page and check it out a little bit. I uploaded the file for the food journal on there that you guys, I have 1 copy for you right now that lasts 1 week. So anyone that has a Facebook page, it's my way of getting you on the Facebook page. Go on and print that out. You can keep using it. After the 2 weeks, keep using it. We're going to go over it soon. I think you're going to like it. Now, Nancy doesn't have one. Amy, Deb, Jennifer, are you on there? Okay. All right. Sounds good. Okay. Should we talk about our meal plan? Has everybody read through it? of this meal plan. Good practice for you. It's just 2 weeks long. We have a lot of weeks in our life, right? We can do 2 weeks. Always remember it's not about being perfect in it, but it's about practicing and creating habits. So what we're gonna do over the next 2 weeks is try to just whole, clean eat. We're gonna take out some of the allergenic foods, impurities, and processed foods really. And we're gonna try to decrease the toxins and decrease the inflammation in your body. Also, we're gonna get some of the good stuff in, the powerhouse foods and nutrients. Do you guys feel like you get enough vegetables on a daily basis? Some of us. Americans get about half of the fiber that they're supposed to. Every single American gets about half of the fiber. So vegetables is a good way to do that. So what we're gonna be doing, at least in this, and all of these recipes, is that they're gluten or soy and they're dairy free. The reason for that is because those are very common allergens. Gluten's not the same as it used to be. I can tell you right now that gluten is a huge contributor to my back pain. When I can cut it out, I feel a big difference because it's an inflammatory. Same thing with my anxiety. The more gluten I eat and more sugar I eat, the higher my anxiety is. So it's a way that I manage that. We're gonna limit meat for 14 days to help clear out our body of added hormones and antibiotics found in most meat. So those are toxins as well. Now you don't have to completely go meatless, but we are going to limit it. One perk to having vegetarian protein is that it's much less expensive, so you have that to look forward to. And it's just an opportunity again to practice and try new things, so just be open to it. When you do go and buy meat, make sure that you're looking for the grass-fed meat, antibiotic and hormone-free. Just about every grocery store now has that option. If you follow this for 14 days, you can expect that you're going to see differences. At first, if you're cutting out sugar and you're really following this, you might have some adverse effects. You might not feel very good because your body's trying to just figure out what's going on. It's so used to the sugar and the caffeine and all of that stuff. 2 or 3 days might not feel good, or you might. But after that, you can expect that you are going to decrease inflammation. You might lose some weight. So stick to it for 14 days and see how it goes. The program is designed to assist you in creating a more positive relationship with your food. Okay, and it assists you in beginning to reach your health goals as well as determine possible food sensitivities. So, what are we gonna do? What do we do every single day? First thing is that we wanna have a food journal, which I'll show to you right now. I'll put half up here to pass out. Now Nancy, you can take 2 since you don't have a Facebook page, okay?
I'll just make copies.
Okay, alright, sounds good. Oh, let me get one so I can go through it with you. Alright. So as they're passing that out, what you're gonna see is that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday's on one side, and then on the other side we have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Alright, Monday, or at the top you're gonna see breakfast, lunch, dinner, followed by snacks, water, exercise, physical activity, or physical symptoms, emotional symptoms, cravings, and hours of sleep. These are all really important things. So up here you write down what you had for the day for your breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, how much water. So you can just tally it. So that's what I do, is I kind of estimate how many cups I've had in a day and just tally it. Then you write down the exercise that you're having, and then physical symptoms. It could be back pain, it could be toe pain, or it could be digestive issues, it could be fatigue, anything like that. Then you're emotional. Were you feeling stressed? Were you anxious? Were you crying? Were you happy? Because there's such a close relationship between the food that you're eating. So the better you can track it, the more association you're gonna see. Then we're gonna go on cravings. What cravings did you have for the day? Did you have a huge craving for sugar? Did you have a huge craving for caffeine, for meat, whatever it might be, for chocolate? And then how many hours of sleep are you getting? Because that's a huge contributor too. And then at the bottom it says rested, yes or no. So you might get 6 hours of sleep and feel rested. If I get 6 hours of sleep, I don't feel rested. So that's important too. What I do with this is I keep a food journal every single day. What I do is I just fill it out before I go to bed. It takes me less than 2 minutes. The biggest thing is just getting in the habit to do it. So set it next to where you're checking off your action steps every day. Fill it out right before bed. It is so fast. You just go, okay, what did I have for breakfast? What did I have for lunch? Ding, 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 write it, done. Next day, do it again.